Hey, what's up guys, aarava here, and welcome back to the episode of my F1 2020 My Team Career Mode, episode 146 today for the Mexican Grand Prix in Season 8. And this is the penultimate episode of the season, the series. We are getting really close to the end. Well, we're here. This race sets up the finale and the final ever episode on this game with this My Team Career Mode, and it is hotting up. Last time out at the Japanese Grand Prix, it was a very tough Grand Prix for not only us, but also the team as well. Our car seemed so quick in qualifying around Suzuka, and then the race, clearly the race pace wasn't there, the tyre wear wasn't there for both me or Mick, because Mick Schumacher also fell away in that race after looking pretty strong initially. And then, of course, for us, it was a double whammy, because it wasn't just the race pace and the tyre wear, it's the fact that we actually got spun around by our teammate Mick Schumacher. So we haven't had any issues with a teammate for a while now, but, you know, at the very death, we finally get a civil war sort of moment there as Mick spun me round at the chicane. I believe we would have been right there where Mick finished, just behind the two Ferrari cars, if it wasn't for that spin, because you saw clearly that was the only difference really. I caught up to my other rivals. I caught up to Lando, caught up to Esteban Ocon, and then fell away with the tyre wear, but we would have been right there with Schumacher falling away with him, rather, you know, near to the Ferrari. So that was a double whammy for us of losing points, and so it means going to this one, you know, we've been doing this now for the last 3 episodes, controlling the kind of lead we gained in Italy. And so far, that's been going well. You know, we kind of got lucky a little bit with Ocon and Lando, Mick, and even especially Russell getting unlucky in the last few episodes, maybe getting caught in traffic or bad qualifying or whatever. And so it's allowed us to maintain that lead, but it has been slowly being chipped away by all of them. You know, Lando at the moment in second place, but at one point Ocon was right there after Singapore in second place. So all of them are trying their best to chip away at the lead and retake the lead for themselves into the championship. But, you know, now in the second last race, this is the really important one, because this will set up then that final race. Will we be chasing a points lead, or will we be trying to defend and maintain our championship lead in that final race? I don't know which one I really prefer to be honest, because I think historically I've always been better at controlling a championship lead rather than chasing after one. So if I can help it, we're going to hopefully remain in first place going into Brazil, because, you know, it's a little bit easier to control it, because kind of things are in your control. You know what you have to do, and then it's about everyone else. Whereas if you're chasing after them, you kind of have to do the best, and then you have to really hope that the people you're chasing don't do what they need to do to mathematically still win it, if that makes any kind of sense. I think I essentially just said the same thing, just backwards, basically, but you know what I mean. You know, I get a better vibe and feel more comfy controlling one, and that's what F1 championships are sometimes all about, is just doing the minimum, the Alan Prost way, doing the minimum you need to do to get the championship, and just keeping a cool head and keeping on top of things, because if you're chasing, you know, sometimes things get a little bit desperate, and this season, you've seen a few times when we've been desperate in terms of the way we've been driving and chasing after podiums and wins, it's kind of gone undone. We've overdriven the car, especially with this Honda power unit. I think overdriving it has definitely been an issue compared to the Renault and Mercedes power unit on the game. I think it's a little bit easier to kind of control those kind of engines in the back of the car, whereas the Honda, I think it snaps at you sometimes and gets away from you. But anyways, as I've been talking about the dynamic of the championship in the car, we've been going through into the race weekend of Mexico, wasting no time here and doing qualifying 1 in the background. We're through, no surprise and no shock, hopefully. You know, it's a given that we'll get through. Would have been an absolute disaster at this late stage and crucial point in the championship if we weren't able to get through. But it is very overcast at the end of the session, and there is some rain forecast for Saturday. None for Sunday, doesn't look like it, but you never know with this game. But there is rain on the way in Q2 and Q3, so that is going to be a spanner in the works, because we've already set up the car in Parc Ferme for a dry race. Mexico, it's already a very difficult circuit for aero balance in terms of, because you're high up there, the air is quite thin, and so in terms of running wings, a little bit different compared to other circuits. So the balance is always quite fine, and already feels a bit awkward when you've got the long straights, but then sector 2 where it's so twisty, you need the downforce. So with some rain added, this could be quite spicy strategy. Hopefully we don't get caught out there and others maybe do. But going into Q2, that was the least of our concern because we actually had, of course we do in the second last race, a fault on the car.
We've got a situation at the moment. Seems like something's off with the fuel injection system. We're looking into it, but we're going to be out of action for a few minutes.
Hugely thankful at least that this issue didn't come in Q3 because with 7 minutes out of action in the top 10 shootout, that would have been a disaster. So we still have time to do laps, but we've only got 8 minutes left of the session, to be fair. So I'm just going to fuel up the car for a few laps and just go out because I do that anyway in intermediate conditions because I feel like the first lap is always a banker. You're kind of getting used to the circuit and you can see I am very much doing that, kind of getting used to how much I can apply the right foot, the throttle pedal in certain corners with how slippery it is, and kind of just gauging what the car is saying, what the circuit's saying, and then you do the quicker lap on the second or third run. So with 8 minutes left, I filled up the car for hopefully I would say at least 3 runs or 4 runs in a row, however many we need to try and get through. But the first run was woefully slow, as it always is for me on intermediate, so hopefully this second run can be a lot better. And you can clearly see on the top right, we've gained nearly a second on this one, so let's see what it's going to be across the line, and it's only P12. So we continue on, and we have to concentrate and commit to a third flying lap here in a row. This is on the Inters. Purple first sector, though, so maybe the track is, maybe the rain fell and then started to fall a little bit less, maybe, or is maybe this the fuel, as the fuel comes out, I'm getting quicker and quicker potentially, or just a combination of getting more comfy with the circuit. I'm not too sure. Red second sector, but we're still up because of the first sector time across the line, and it's only P12 still. That wasn't enough. That wasn't enough. We might be out. We might be out. We've gone for a 4th run in a row, and it's a green first sector, red second sector again. We've only gained 2 tenths here. We're still down in P13 across the line for the 4th flying lap in a row, and we've made it. Just about 10th place. Are you kidding me? Look how close that is. We were mere 1,000ths away from being knocked out in the second part of qualifying. Schumacher makes it through. Lando does as well, but Ocon and Russell do not. And Ocon is the big hitter. We already knew Russell was kind of already a bit out of the championship fight, mathematically still in it, but very much kind of the momentum kind of lost with Russell and Alfa Romeo as his teammate makes it through. So the car is clearly there for Alfa Romeo. It's just Russell. It's kind of a shame to see his AI fall off a cliff, basically, after how well he was doing. But Ocon out, that's massive then. So one less person to worry about. It's just me v Lando v Mick now in the final part of qualifying. Still raining, still intermediates, but obviously now we have a little bit more time to breathe potentially. We're going to have 2 different runs on 2 sets of fresh intermediate tyres, but my word, that was so close. I can't believe we gained that much time in Q2 on those runs, and we're still only P12, and it was only a mere 2 tenths that did it for us then at the end on the 4th and final run that actually got us in to the top 10 by a tiny margin. But here we are then in the top 10 shootout. First blood, it goes to Giovinazzi and Leclerc. It's a 1-2 for Ferrari. We're in P3. Well, it was P3. We're now P4 now by the time we go for our second flyer. So someone else has now grabbed provisional pole because they're both ahead of Gio and Leclerc. Sainz behind us, Stroll behind us. I don't know where Lando or Mick is. Maybe one of them is at the top. No, now Mick is at the top as he goes fast as a ball. We've gained half a second in the first sector, but seeing Schumacher's name pop up in purple kind of put me off, I'm not going to lie, because seeing his name made me just push that a little bit harder, but too much in the brake zone overdid it, and now we've lost the time we gained in the first sector. We're still purple first. What's the second going to be? Verstappen now comes through, Latifi comes through, the track is heating up. I think the rain is slowed down and the track's getting quicker as the water dissipates off some of these corners, and so in the last sector alone we've gained 1.2. The track has come alive here. Could we go for pole? Could we go for the front row again across the line? What's it going to be? 1.2 to 3 seconds gains. And it's only P7. That's actually very disappointing. 1.5 off our teammate and pole position. Are you kidding me? Mick Schumacher, the king in the rain, it would seem. What a lap from him. How has he pulled that out of the bag? I don't know what went on there, because I was gaining 1.2. on that last lap, and we still only came 7th, 1.5 off pole position and our teammate in the same piece of machinery. That's mad. So going into this second last race then, only a couple of points, 6 or 7 points in it between myself down to P4 in the championship, Mick Schumacher, and he is on pole, and we're down in P7, Lando's in P9, and Ocon's down even further in P11 or 12. This is massive for Schumacher. He may have just put himself in a great place to go on to do good things in this race and set himself up for a championship charge going to the final round. Myself and Lando and Ocon, we've all got to come back through the traffic, come back through in this race and do well on Sunday. And speaking of, let's get into it then. Let's go to the grid for the second last race of the season.
Welcome along to the most populous city in North America and home now to the Mexico City Grand Prix. It's a sellout crowd as usual here at one of the shortest circuits on the Formula One calendar. So who, I wonder, will the crowd cheer on today to the top step of the podium? At 2,285 metres above sea level, the thin air of the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez poses a unique challenge, not just to a driver's skill, but to the efficiency of their engines as well. 17 corners make up a lap of this 2.6-mile circuit, and you can expect incredible speeds in excess of 220 miles per hour, and overtaking too into the hard braking zones of turns 1 and turn 4. A warm welcome to Anthony Davidson, who's beside me in the commentary box today. Now, can I talk to you about Pierre Gasly? That was a great win in the last race. Can they keep that momentum going this weekend?
There are never any guarantees in this business, but certainly the performance last time out would have boosted their confidence coming into this one.
It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Mick Schumacher lines up on pole position, edging out Max Verstappen, who'll start from P2. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Sainz, Leclerc, Alexander Albon, and Latifi, the owner driver, Stroll, Norris, and Antonio Giovinazzi, Hamilton, Ocon, George Russell, and Gasly, Kvyat, Bottas, Kevin Magnussen, and Luca Giotto, Aitken, Matsushita, Joe, and Nick De Vries. And now it's time to head down to the track.
So this is going to be a very important race because, as I've been banging on about, this sets up the finale, and this one just got juicier because Schumacher, the one out of all four of us that's the lowest in the championship, is highest in this grid. And what a race to do it at to set it up, because Mexico is always very interesting on the F1 game. You've got the slipstream, but then also the tyre where the softs really don't go that long, but then also at the same time, the performance of the hards and the mediums is always really quite poor versus the softs. So it's a very fine balancing act of what you do at certain points in the race when you're quicker than others on different tyre compounds. It's a really, I've really grown to love it on the F1 game, but it means truly anything could happen in this one. In terms of our strategy, we're going to look to put on a medium tyre compound in the second stint, I think, and give ourselves a good chance at the end to attack cars on softs when they're maybe on mediums. We've always kind of done that. It's worked well in the past. We had an absolute manic one last season here in Mexico with about 5 safety cars, was it, or something like that. Hopefully not so chaotic this season, but you never know, But it's time to find out then as we go to 5 red lights to the Mexican Grand Prix, the penultimate round of this season. Fire lights are out and we are underway. It's a really slow one for Albon up the road. It's a fantastic charge for us, and it's going to be a slipstream fest into turn 1, and it may be 3-4 wide for the lead. Schumacher holding on. We're powering through. We're nearly up and fighting for the lead, and the cars come through. Latifi's round, and we've somehow missed him. He's come across us, and that, my life flashed before my eyes, because that could have been race over. That could have been front wing off, tyre off, championship over there, as Latifi nearly T-boned us, and Norris has got up into P5 ahead of us somehow. Schumacher has lost the lead. Verstappen is in to first place. The Ferrari Leclerc in third place, but look at this, 4-5 wide nearly. We jumped out of the way because I knew 5 into 1 was not going to go. But look at this slow-mo shot there. Leclerc hits Verstappen, Latifi hits Verstappen, and look at this. That is what you call lightning reaction. Sometimes I'm not the best at reacting to things like that, but that right there, I was a pixel, inches away from having my front wing taken off or just some sort of damage that would have made this race very, very difficult, but we're still in it. That is what, that could be a championship defining moment. A moment like that's kept us in this race and kept us in the fight against Schumacher and Lando here. And we're just going to take a look at an onboard then from Lando as well, because he was quite far back away from us, you know, a good 3 car lengths, and then he catches up, and then there, he gets so lucky. I'm just in the wrong place on the inside. He's on the outside, doesn't get caught up with Latifi. And so now we're back to the live action. Verstappen leads the way, then Schumacher in second, but the Ferrari of Leclerc dives down the inside. Leclerc, the Ferrari goes for second place, and Schumacher struggling a bit. And it's interesting to note, actually, I didn't see this, he's the only man, it seems, that started this race on mediums. Everyone got a free choice of tyre compounds because it was raining on Q2 and Q3. Schumacher, the pole man, opted for mediums, everyone else on softs, and it doesn't look like the mediums are working for, well, at least Schumacher. I don't know about if that's a car issue, if the FOM My Team car is not liking the mediums this season at Mexico, but Schumacher's falling away. It's 3 wide between him and the 2 Red Bull cars, and Norris, he may be through, he's side by side, and he's through. He's up into 3rd. The Red Bull is flying here. The man in 2nd place in the championship is up into a podium spot early doors, and Schumacher's now being attacked by Carlos Sainz as well. So the 2 Red Bulls both are going to get past. Schumacher defending as best he can, but he's on the outside now, so not the best place to defend really, honestly, for a double right-hander coming up, and Sainz is going to slip through into 4th place. Those mediums, well, visually at least, the way Schumacher's falling away here, I don't think that's the tyre to be on, at least on heavy fuel initially this first stage of the Grand Prix. Later on, we're going to have to put on the mediums or the hards, but I don't really fancy the hards. They could be even worse than the mediums at this rate, but we go down the inside of Schumacher, try and just thread the needle and roll the car through, and in the end, Schumacher doesn't put up a fight, really, because I think he knows that those tyres aren't working. Obviously, it's a gamble that he took, hoping to maybe go longer in the first stint, hope that the soft runners all have more tyre wear, but at this early stage on lap number 3, those are just horrendous tyres. The performance is not there, but now we go chasing after Carlos Sainz. We're in a great battle, and it's so close. Look at that. We lock up into this stadium hairpin. Don't make any contact, though, and just about slow it down to get the move done on the inside. We're up into P4, but look at the way Lando is bolted then as we caught up to Sainz. 3.2 up the road, so we're going to have to do some serious lap times here to catch that Red Bull up, who's looking to chase after the Ferrari, but it's Verstappen that leads the way. We haven't seen his name right at the sharp end in a bit in this My Team series, but behind us then, Sainz continues to fall away. Then Giovinazzi looking to make the move in the Ferrari. Behind is the Alfa Romeo of George Russell. Remember, Latifi got spun round, so that is Russell's Alfa Romeo, and he's through. And these 3 cars, they're already past Schumacher, I think. I think they've already overtaken him. So this is an absolute nightmare for the German. He's had a mare on this first. He's gone from pole position way down the order, because this is the running order then. In this first part of the race, Prix the first pit stop, Verstappen leads the way, Leclerc second, Norris in 3rd, and you can see we are gaining, we are closing up a little bit, pretty much just about within 1 second now. Giovinazzi, Russell, Sainz, then you've got a bit of a gap, Aston Martin, McLaren of Hamilton, Williams, there is Schumacher, and then there is Esteban Ocon. So that's how far Schumacher has fallen from pole position to outside the top 10, it looks like, in a matter of a couple of laps. So I don't know if there's a car issue that I haven't been told anything on the radio, but maybe he's got one of those mechanical issues that's slowing him down, and hopefully he might speed up then for his sake, and remember, for the team's sake, because technically this race we could look to seal out the Constructors' Championship, which is still equally as important as my team. You know, I'm the team boss, so I want the team to win the championship there, so I need him to buck up a little bit. But as we now watch on, beautiful timing there as Russell overtakes Giovinazzi. So Russell coming back through after 3 really tough races for George. He is now looking a little bit punchy, and he's up into P5, but lap number 9 then. So we've gone quite long into this first stint, I can't lie, considering what the tyre wear levels are like. You can see on the bottom right, we've got an amber warning for the tyre. So the tyre wear is kicking in. Is Russell! Oh, no! No, no, no. Oh, what? What is going on? It really is an absolute howler of a second half of the season for George Russell. What happened? What happened to him? He had first place, second, first, and then since then, he's not scored a single point in the last 3 episodes. And this is a 4th race, or is this the, I don't even know, but it's a DNF for George Russell. Engine failure. Even in real life, this man cannot catch a break. He was in the championship fight. He was leading the standings going into Belgium or after Belgium. And now he's well and truly out of the championship fight, out of this race. And he's probably crying in the cockpit. Safety car is out then for him, full core safety car. So we've all come in under that safety car and everyone looks to be on the soft compound. I've gone onto the mediums because we planned to go on the mediums. To be honest now, in hindsight, thinking about it, seeing how far Schumacher fell on mediums just a moment ago in the first stint, this may be a cataclysmic error from us. I really got to hope now that maybe it was Schumacher with a car issue and not just the tyres, because if it was, we may have made a big mistake here. We may just be falling away in this second stint now. But the safety cars helped us at least close up to Norris, and you can see Leclerc and Verstappen just there. Verstappen's going to lead this train. This may have helped Schumacher as well, because if it was a car issue more so than the tyres, then maybe this elapsed time under the safety car may help him out. But here we go on the restart. Thought I timed that pretty well, but look how much quicker Norris is pulling away. That Red Bull is so slippery in a straight line in this race. I don't know if it's maybe the tyres giving some extra grip, and he's going for the lead. It's going to be 3 wide between Verstappen, Leclerc and Norris down the inside. The Red Bulls into the lead. What a restart for Lando Norris, and Verstappen struggling. Leclerc around the outside. The Ferraris into second place. But what a stonking safety car restart for the man in the Red Bull. Lando Norris leads the way, and this is an issue now because he is directly fighting me in the championship. He's a mere couple of 4 points away from us in the championship, so we need to catch him. If he's going on to win this race, we need to be chasing after him, at least getting up into second to limit the damage, but we need to try and get going. But the thing is, I have made a mistake with the mediums. The mediums are honestly this horrendous for some reason in this season with our car, because I'm losing time to Verstappen. We've lost more than a second now in just a lap, and so we need to just try and bide our time, hope that those soft compound tyres wear out for them and that the mediums start coming towards us or something. But yeah, at the moment, as it stands then, Lando leads the way in the Red Bull, Leclerc in second, Verstappen third, and we're just kind of, trying to keep up. You can see we're not falling away like Schumacher did, but we're not exactly right up behind him, and Giovinazzi, keeping me honest, a bit further back down the road. There is Schumacher on the soft compound tyre with everyone else now, and he's looking a bit better. He's ahead of, I think that's Hamilton's McLaren, because I think Ocon's even further back, so Ocon is still the lowest man in this kind of, quadruple championship fight out of the 4 of us. He's, we're still behind an Alpine here. I don't know what's going on. He needs to get a move on. If he wants any chance of keeping his championship fight alive into the final race, Ocon needs to put in a shift now on the softs. Get the DRS open. He might go for the double move. I think he will. It's going to be 3 wide though as the Alpine comes back through, and also the Alfa Romeo of, I think it's Latifi who's trying to come back through, but Ocon is through in clean air. He now needs to chase after Sainz, but he's got a long way to go. And as we cut back to this, Hamilton is just overtaking Schumacher. So although Schumacher is back into the top 10, looking a bit better, the McLaren's just overtaken him. So he needs to get a move on, and Mick needs to kind of wake up a bit. But now, this is a fight at the sharp end. This is the first place. That's Lando Norris, and he's being overtaken by Charles Leclerc in the Ferrari. DRS open. It slams shut into turn 1, into the inside of turn 2. Can Leclerc do that? Hang around the outside. Lando gets the elbows out. A bit of contact made, but the Ferrari gets through on the racing line, and he's up into first place. Leclerc leads, and Verstappen now. That is so close. Lando shuts the door on Max Verstappen for third, and now we are starting to come back into this race because their soft compound tyres are wearing out, and we are closing up the mediums. They may not be that quick still, they may not feel great, but now they're the better race tyre versus the soft compound because they're feeling the tyre wear. So we have to really bide our time for a fair few laps. But we're here now. Can we overtake Verstappen? And then Lando is just up the road. He's there. So we're kind of feeling a bit better about this. I'm feeling better about the fact that he's not walking away from this anymore. And we have a chance maybe, especially with the soft compound later in the race, we could have a great chance of re-overtaking, getting back past and controlling that championship lead, which is going to be oh so important into Sao Paulo. But here we go, lap 18. Couldn't quite do it on the previous one, but now DRS Open, overwhelming pace, and we can set our sights now ahead to Lando Norris in second place, and Leclerc kind of, you know, they're not pulling away. Leclerc, having overtaken him, is kind of, it looks like he's kind of backing Lando a little bit and slowing him up, so hopefully we can catch up. Jack Aiken is out this race now on the end of lap 18 into the last sector, and is that a full core safety car? Is that a full safety car or a virtual safety car? I think it may just be a virtual. Yes, it is. So not quite getting towards the 5 safety car flurry we had last season, God forbid. But we are on 1 full safety car and 1 virtual. And actually, interesting enough, will these 2 come in? Will they come in? No, they don't. That might be a mistake in my opinion. If I was them, they're only maybe a lap or 2's away from coming in for their second pit stop, because those soft tyres won't go any longer. I think that's a mistake by them. They definitely should have taken advantage of the virtual safety car and come in and got a kind of, not effectively a free pit stop, but a kind of quicker pit stop than you'd normally get in terms of relative to everyone else. You know, everyone else is going at that slower pace under the virtual safety car. And lap 20, they are now coming in. So that's 2 laps later. So they really could have come in well and truly and got some time. But obviously, I don't really care. That's good news for us. But we did lose about a second on that virtual safety car being lifted. The gap was 1 point something, and obviously under virtuals you don't close up, you maintain the times between each other. It effectively neutralizes the race, but then after that we lost a further second, so the mediums really weren't that great. Even with that amount of tyre wear for them on the softs, they were still quicker and pulling away from us. So I'm really thankful that we've stretched this stint now to lap 24. We're now in, and we're going to be the only ones in the top 10 here on the soft compounder tyre. So we have lost time to Lando, to Leclerc, and we've even lost time to the cars behind us, Verstappen and Giovinazzi. I think we might even be well behind them, because that's how much time we're losing with our tyre wear on the medium compound. But the difference is now we're on the softs. Yes, we're going to feel tyre wear, but you've clearly seen, even with the tyre wear, this soft compound, for whatever reason, this soft compound is like light years ahead of the medium, and I don't even want to guess what the hard tyre would be like in terms of just pure pace, even with the tyre wear. So it's time to get our head down, lick our lips a bit, and try and chase off these guys. Not just get past Giovinazzi and Verstappen to get back into third, but then go chasing after with clean air on Lando and Leclerc. We can try and go for the win maybe. That would be absolutely amazing. But no surprise then to me. We set the fast lap of the Grand Prix, and we've already caught up to the Ferrari, the first of 2, I hope, today. But you can see the gaps are a little bit bigger at the sharp end. Leclerc has actually really got a commanding lead versus Lando in second place. But never say never, and that's how quick this soft compound might just be. But we need to get past these guys, and right now getting held up a little bit by Gio now in this second stint. We're closing up though rapidly. DRS Open as we go in towards the stadium section. Gio maintains his racing line, doesn't go defensive, and so that invites us for the dive bomb into the inside there. Get the elbow on the exit, and we're up into P4, and we're going to have to try and do the same thing to Verstappen, because again we catch him in sector 2, but then it's just the nature of the circuit. It's very difficult to get momentum and actually get a dive down the inside anywhere through these corners. Just a case of trying to be patient here with the throttle and try and nail it on this exit. Little bit of understeer with the dirty air kicking in, but DRS Open again on the inside. Verstappen is deja vu, doesn't go defensive. I think he knows, I think they all know I've got the overwhelming pace. We're up into third place, but Lando probably is not going to give us the same benefit and just invite us through. And now he's definitely not doing that, because we've got the full core safety car. Late drama. Yellow flags out. Second safety car of the day. And what? What is going on? For the second season in a row, someone's crashed into the safety car at Mexico. It's the Alpine Fiat. He's out. Oh my word. Oh my day. So 2 safety cars, 2 virtuals. It's still been quite a chaotic and dangerous Mexican Grand Prix, hasn't it? But we're now on the restart. It's going to be a sprint race, effectively. Only 2 racing laps in it, lap 35 and lap 36. And if you recall the restart from the first safety car, I'm a little bit worried here. I think Lando has a very good chance of getting a good tow and overtaking Leclerc into first place. That means we have to be there. We have to try and at least overtake Leclerc minimum if he gets into first place. We have to get the Ferrari, or ideally try and make it 3-1 and do what Lando did to those two earlier and get into first place. But it's going to be a very interesting and very tense restart here. And behind me, things are quite interesting because look at the minimap there. I think you can see Schumacher's dot and Ocon, the second McLaren. They've all caught up a little bit, so you never know. They may still try and limit the damage. But here we are on the restart. It's a poor one from us. The rear end slips a little bit. Obviously, remember, we've got a lot of tyre wear on these soft compounded tyres. But Norris, what did I tell you? He gets the slipstream. He's going to get past the Ferrari. Again, we've had a really poor exit off the restart. And Lando's into turn one, locks up, we lock up, but he's into the lead again. But Leclerc comes back at him. The Ferrari, can he do it? No. And the Red Bull's into the lead. We have to overtake. We have to overtake Leclerc here. We've only got 2 laps though. And Verstappen's right there as well. We go defensive against Verstappen on the outside, trying to roll the car through. Leclerc gets unsettled on the curb. Then we get the nose in. We're side by side. We get it. We're into second. We've done what we can do there. Now what can we do with the Lando? The rear end steps again. 1.5 laps to go. The tyre wear, oh, you can see on the bottom right, is very high. But we're on to the last lap of this Grand Prix then. The man in second place in the championship leads the way. We're in second, leading the championship as it stands right now. We'll lose the lead of the championship though. Can we do anything on the Red Bull? No, doesn't look like it. The tyre wear is too poor. As much as the soft compound was quick, now at the very end of the stint, the tyre wear is just there too much, and you can see him having to lift off and be very, very, very easy on the throttle as we catch the car for a second time in the span of 1 lap there, just to make sure we don't do anything silly and bring the car home for second place at least. But you can see the rear end is wobbling all over the place. But the man of the hour is going to be the Red Bull, Lando Norris, our former teammate from season 7. We beat him to the Drivers' Championship last season, but here in season 8, the final season, he comes through for the second last race to win the Mexican Grand Prix and take the lead of this championship going into the final round. Things just got very interesting.
It's a performance to be proud of from our Mexico City Grand Prix winners. Ant, talk to me. What do you think it was that sealed the win for them?
I think that smart tyre management on track and very smooth driving definitely assisted in their victory today. That combination meant they got the absolute maximum out of their tyres at all times.
Red Bull are our winners today after showcasing some incredible driving. There's been a huge push from them lately to stay competitive with the other teams, and they're certainly proving themselves.
So well, Lando Norris in first place, myself second, Leclerc third, and going into Sao Paulo, I'm the one chasing the championship lead then. So much for controlling. We did so well to control the championship up till now, since that second place in Italy. But the second place here in Mexico is not good enough to get to maintain the lead going into the final race. But what is very happy news is that we have sealed the Constructors' Championship for aarava Archer Racing. So that is our 6th Constructors' Championship out of 8 total seasons. I don't think that is a bad record. I think we've done very, very well over the course of this game cycle to win 6 of the Constructors. Because especially, you know, Constructors usually, well and truly, I don't care about them most of the time. But this game, and from now on in my team career mode, it's a very different dynamic because it is your team. You're the team boss. You decide the upgrades early on in the first few seasons, the teammate and everything. I care more about the Constructors now, way more than I ever did in previous F1 games. So it's really actually quite a good achievement that we've got 6 of these out of 8 possible chances. Obviously, the first season was inevitably not going to be one, but then we had that blip in season 4 where we went bankrupt and whatnot. We had a very, a topsy-turvy one, but we come through for some very consistent championship records here. But in terms of the Drivers' Championship, it's all to play for into that final race at Sao Paulo because Lando Norris leads the way by 2 points to myself. So we've had myself v Lando 2.0 before in terms of the on-track battle, but this is for the championship, me v Lando 2.0. We had it last season as teammates, this time round, in the final race ever on this series, we're in different teams. So that means the gloves are truly off. There's no sort of, oh, he's my teammate, he's my... No, the gloves are off. I don't, you can't trust anything not to happen, basically, at Sao Paulo. So that's going to be very, very intriguing. And then it's a fight for third place, I guess, between Ocon and Schumacher. Commiserations to them, and commiserations to George Russell in terms of not being in the fight anymore. But that is it then. That is actually quite fitting that we're going to have round number 2 of this fight with Lando going into the final race. So guys, if you did enjoy this episode, hit that like button. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. If you're new around here, then do get subscribed for weekly Formula 1 content. And I will see you guys next time. Goodbye.